Everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we are joined by Bellator veteran and one of the top bantamweights in New England, whose next fight will be a rematch from 2019 against UFC veteran Kris Moutinho. His next fight will take place on Saturday, November 9th at the Plymouth Memorial Hall in Plymouth, Massachusetts. Let's talk to the man himself, Mr. Johnny Cupcakes Campbell. How you doing, Johnny?
Fantastic. How you feeling?
Good, man. 6 weeks out. How you feeling?
Outstanding. Fucking tremendous. Better than ever. I feel like I'm 20-year-old me right now. I'm just having fun, training, getting in shape, loving every second. Life is just a beautiful, beautiful miracle, and I'm in a phenomenal place right now.
And how were you approached about the fight with Kris?
Oh, man, I've been asking for this fight to happen again, offering him a rematch or another opportunity at me for quite some time, and he just was never interested. And there's kind of like a little bit of weirdness. So I was supposed to fight Carlos Lazoya potentially. Months ago, Lazoya was like, "Yeah, I'd be game to fight," and then it didn't happen. And then this time around, he commented on a Facebook post of Cage Titans and was like, "You better get me on the card." So I was like, "Carlos, I'm still here, bro. I'll fight you at 35." And he went on interviews, multiple interviews. He said he was going to fight me next. He fights at 135, wins, and then mysteriously, he wants to go back down to 125. So I believe personally that Kris feels like this. He has to fight me eventually. He's on a 4-fight win streak. He probably wants to get back to the UFC. So I've been calling him out forever. So he probably feels a little bit obligated to take it. Then Carlos drops out on me again. They're on the same team. I feel like Kris is sort of being sacrificed. Carlos won't fight Cupcakes, but he can have the Kris fight now. So it kind of came out of the blue. There was another UFC vet that they were offering me for Cage Titans. They hit me up and were like, "Hey, do you want that guy or do you want Kris Moutinho?" I said, "Moutinho's a dream matchup. I would love that fight." Bam. Deal signed that day.
Any areas in Kris's game that you could take advantage of?
Absolutely. You watch that first fight with him in CES back in 2019. You watch any of his fights, really, any of his fights with anybody that can strike. You see the exact hole that he has, and he has a head-sized hole. His head doesn't move. He stands straight up like a golf ball on a golf tee, and he just wades into danger. And that is exactly what we're going to do. Most likely he's approaching the fight with a different game plan. If you watch our first fight, in between the first and the second round, his team was telling him to push off, create space, and strike, which was in hindsight, really bad advice because I ended up punching his face and knocking him down a couple times. So most likely he's coming into this fight thinking keep your chin down and wrestle. So, but we're ready for that. I've fought every type of fighter that there is, and there isn't a man right now that could keep me down on the ground or keep me against the fence. So if we end up on the fence or on the ground, we're getting back to the feet and we're just throwing bombs at his head all night long. 15 minutes, there's no way that he could last 15 minutes. If I hit him, I'm going to hurt him and I'm going to finish this fight.
Prediction on the fight, how do you see it going?
Right hand, left hook on the button. I see a clean knockout this time. He's a super tough kid. You watched him take 400 punches against Sean O'Malley. We know that he has a chin on him, but I've cracked that chin before, and I see deja vu all over again. I see myself knocking him down and getting the finish, if not by ground and pound, then by submission. But I'd like to just knock him clean out and prove to everybody that not only can the soulless one be knocked out cold, but I'm the guy that can do it.
And who's helping you get ready in camp right now?
Man, I got a whole bunch of guys behind me, guys and girls. Zach DiSabatino, who's a top 155er around here. Antoine Caprata has been in the gym again. Hasn't been fighting in years, but he's coming back and he's, on point. His wrestling's incredible and he's helping me out a lot for this fight. I got Christina Katsikas, the meat grinder. She'll be fighting on Cage Titans with me as well. And she is always giving me great rounds. I mean, she's a 125, 135 pound female, but she is has man strength, and she really has been, helping me get rounds. Danielle Hindley, the dark horse, another savage. She's fought in LFA. She's a black belt. She gave me my black belt, really. She's always helping me. I mean, constantly sending me Instagram messages of different, jujitsu techniques that she wants me to add. She was teaching an MMA class the other day. I got a whole bunch of guys. There's amateurs, Jack High Noon. He's an amateur who's coming up, who's just always helping me. And I got so many people, a lot of guys that maybe people go without knowing because their names are brand new or, outdated, if you will. Ryan the Great White. He's another one, awesome striker. 6-2 pro MMA fighter. He's been out of the game for a while, but he's always in the gym, always helping us get ready and always, upgrading us.
And who's going to be the key people to walk you out on fight night?
It'll be Bill Mahoney, my head coach. Danielle Hindley most likely will be in the corner as well, and then probably Ryan White as well. And I just couldn't ask for a better squad. I feel like I've been with them since day one. A lot of people cross-train, a lot of people change gyms. Kris, in our first fight, had one set of coaches in his corner, and now he's going to have a totally different set of people in his corner. And I'm a loyal individual, and I love the people that I have around me, and they're exactly who I want to have in the cage with me.
And what goes through your mind when you're in the cage and you're standing across from your opponent?
Oh man, just being in the now, not thinking, just being in the now, experiencing, being grateful. I say it a lot. There are people out there with, no arms and no legs. I remember I fought a guy, Jeff Haddad, on like 7 days notice. He's a great wrestler, great MMA fighter, great coach now. And 7 days notice, he was getting ready for like a title fight. He was in tremendous shape. We had a great fight. It went to decision. I did not get the nod in that fight. I walked out of the cage, and the first person that I see is a guy in a wheelchair. And he looked at me and he just said, "Dude, that was a great fight. Thanks for that." And I think about that every so often, how blessed I am. And when I'm in that cage, I'm doing exactly what I want to do. I'm like one of the luckiest human beings on the planet. And not a lot of thinking involved in an MMA fight. I consider myself an intellectual, but in the cage, no thinking.
And what does a win mean for you on November 9th?
It's huge. It's massive. It sparks a win streak for sure. It proves that the first fight wasn't a fluke. This guy's been in there against Sean O'Malley, some of the best fighters in the world. He spent time in the UFC. He's on a winning streak. He beat Jay Presley, who's a guy who was able to beat me on my last outing. I feel like this fight kind of erases that Jay Presley fight and just propels me right back to where I should be, which is on top of the bantamweight division in Cage Titans, and really solidifies me as one of the best fighters that's ever come out of New England. And, say what you want about my record, say what you want about my age, but I feel incredible. And winning this fight in decisive fashion gives me the opportunity to continue marching forward and fighting the toughest guys that I can find.
Absolutely. And after Kris, what's next for you?
Man, like I said, Presley, potentially, I'd love to get that one back. I definitely beat that guy, Jay Perrin, as well. Those two just fought. They were supposed to be fighting for the bantamweight title. Jay Perrin couldn't make weight because he's a fatty. So, I win this fight in decisive fashion, and I call out Presley, Perrin, anybody that wants it. I think that if I beat Kris faster than Sean O'Malley, I should be Sean O'Malley's welcome back fight in the UFC. I took O'Malley almost 500 punches to beat Kris, and I can do it with one punch. So whoever it is, you better believe that it's going to be at the top of a card. It's going to be a main event or a title fight or something even bigger than that. But I see this fight propelling me to the very top.
And if fight any fighter in history, who would it be and why?
Oh man, put me in there against Sean O'Malley. That's the guy I want. I want that guy bad. I'd love to beat that dude up. I would chop his fucking tiny little legs right off of his body and then knock his head off of his shoulders. People just, they think that guy's some kind of god or something. That is literally who I would want to match up against in the future at some point. I've been wanting that fight since that rainbow haired, goofball got into the UFC. And when Kris fought him, especially, it was like, dude, I want that fight. I want that fight. So yeah, that's the dream matchup for sure.
I love it, man. And how did you get the nickname Cupcakes?
Cupcakes. Well, my gym has always been known for coming up with kind of different nicknames. I love the gym. I'm always smiling, having a good time in there. There's a t-shirt company, Johnny Cupcakes, that's pretty like world famous for the most part. And I was in the gym. I was training with like a 17-year-old kid at the time and a future criminal. And I think that they were sort of trying to place themselves in the pecking order. And they just were like, wow, Johnny Cupcakes. And took a fight on short notice as an amateur. My first fight, it was probably like a 5-day notice fight. And, back then, 2009, I'm like in the back room, I'm doing my best Chuck Liddell impression. I'm trying to get pumped up. I walk out to the fight, and as I'm walking out there, like, Johnny Cupcakes, Campbell. And dude, that was it. It caught on. Everybody fucking loves it. I am not even Johnny Campbell. I'm not Johnny Cupcakes to most people. To the people that know me, I am just Cupcakes. And I'm a firm believer that you can't pick your own nickname. When I came out of the womb, they named me John. I didn't pick that name. And I think that your nickname should be the same way. And I came out of the gym. They called me Cupcakes. Here I am. And I dig it. I like it. It's fun. I liken it now to like cupcakes are, you put a whole bunch of ingredients together, you bake them in the oven, and they come out sweet and delicious. And that is exactly me. I've been mixed up. I've been dumped into a pan and then fucking, cooked at the highest temperature possible. And now I'm here on the other side, sweet and special. And Cupcakes is, there's a special name. You don't see it a lot in MMA.
It suits you, man. And how do you deal with setbacks and injuries during camps?
You just gotta, you gotta take care of yourself. You got to train intelligently. You got to train with the right people. I remember a guy out of South Shore who went to the UFC and came back to South Shore after. And I remember specifically him saying, if I could go back and do it all again, one thing I would do is I would only train hard once a day. And I feel like I took that to heart, and I have been doing something on that idea since then. I think that just training smart is the most important thing, but it's so mental, it's so easy to be like, oh, my knee hurts or my hand hurts or this hurts. 3 weeks ago, I had a boxing match, first lead hook that I landed, I smashed my thumb, and I've been just working through that right now. It's just like, either you're going to have owies, you're going to have boo-boos. It's going to happen. I've had my ear torn off in a fight. I've had my shoulder dislocated in a fight. I just feel like there is no excuses. And if you love this stuff enough, injuries here, they're just going to be periods of time where you can grow and get better from other ways. You hurt your left hand, you get better with your right hand, or you get your kicks better, or your jiu-jitsu gets better. And that's always how I've been, no matter what. I had a period of time in my career where my shoulder would just fall off my body at almost every training session, going to the hospital to get my shoulder, sucked back into place. And I'd be back in the gym the next day, praying that it didn't come out again. But, I just think injuries, setbacks, things like that, they're going to happen. The best thing you can do, learn from them and grow. And people, the society we're living in now, adversity is kind of like a bad thing. People meet a challenge, they meet a hurdle, and they want to turn around and find the long way around. And I've just never been like that. If I can't jump over the hurdle, I'm going to run straight right through it. And that's how I handle injuries and setbacks.
And come Sunday, the day after the fight, win, lose, draw, whatever, you've put in all that hard work. What's going to be your go-to post-fight cheat meal?
We'll see how I feel. Probably donuts and ice cream. I love ice cream. I love donuts. So probably like that. I've been trying to get a better care of myself and not, go too crazy. I can remember fights where I'd, fight and then go to a donut shop and get a fucking 12 pack of donuts and smash the whole thing. And I've been really trying to like not do that. So, I will probably have a steak on Sunday and treat myself to a couple donuts and some like an ice cream sundae.
That's about all I had for you today, Johnny, man. Is there any sponsors, teammates, or socials you want to shout out before we go?
Yeah, I mean, Ambassador Pools is always behind me. They are, a tremendous sponsor that I have. I love having them with me. They help me do what I do. South Shore Sport Fighting in Rockland, Massachusetts. Bill Mahoney is a wizard. He knows, man, pretty much everything about MMA. He's been studying MMA for 20 friggin' years. One of the pioneers of MMA in this area. And everybody at South Shore Sport Fighting has my respect. And I think that anybody who's even close to this area really should come down and train with us.
All right, man. I appreciate your time today, Johnny, and I look forward to seeing you perform on November 9th.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you having me on. It was fun.
You have a great rest of your day.
Thank you, too.